Hi, this is Wishop, and this is a tarot reading with some oracle cards thrown in. For nothing in particular, but I did one in advance of the new moon solar eclipse, and so this one is about a week in advance of the lunar eclipse and full moon in Libra. So it's a little bit for that, I guess. How have things been going? I think things have been rocking and rolling, and it's been, for me, really exciting. Things have been weird, but good. Very brand new stuff, but also old stuff that has come back in unexpected ways, which I know is sort of what I was saying, but it's been happening for me a lot too. So one thing I wanted to mention quickly, oops, sorry if you heard my text go off. One thing I wanted to mention is there's a lot of Pisces energy right now, and you may know that and or be sensitive to it. It's a time to look at that emotional energy, even if it's coming through in big ways, as being part of what nourishes you. It's actually part of your mojo. It's part of your good stuff. It's part of that deep wisdom that you have. So rather than feeling overwhelmed by it, try to look in every situation to see where your advantage is in it, what you've learned, to compare how you're dealing with things now to the way you used to deal with similar situations, and to really assess and appreciate and value your own progress. The other thing I think is important, just because I was thinking about it before I started the video, so I figured, well, if I was thinking about it, maybe somebody needs it. I have had the case where there have been certain anxieties or phobias that came up for me, even in nightmares, that weren't actually mine. I had them for years and years and years. And then, surprisingly, I was dealing with a reader, actually, who was doing a different kind of reading for me. But it came up that there was an ancestor who'd had this traumatic situation. And the situation so tallied with the anxieties I had, which I could never find a good reason for. They didn't really come from my own personal history. They weren't part of how I felt about the world. And yet they would just come flooding forward. And once I realized that they probably belonged to someone else, so you could think of it as an ancestor, it could be a guide, but somebody who's looking out for you. It could be your own coping mechanism, a very deep buried one, that's really trying to take care of you, but maybe being overprotective. This can be a time when you can say to those energies or those people or those ancestors, it could even be people in your lives, you can trust me. I'm looking out for myself on this aspect, and feeling overly worried about it isn't helping. So trust me, I can drive this one. And then when there are things that I'm not as good at, that I feel nervous about, that I'm concerned about my own capacities, I'm going to lean on you. I'm going to consult you. I'm going to ask for guidance. But in this case, you're kind of stifling me. So this might be an opportunity, because I did think of that. This might be an opportunity, if you have sort of inexplicable anxieties or fears, to do that kind of deep work that you can do just through meditating or praying, or you can think about your dreams, or you can think about your family history, however it is you'd like to sort of look in there and open your mind to the possibility, are any of these fears, phobias, anxieties, triggered feelings, are there any of them that aren't really mine? And this might be a good time to look at that. The full moon in Libra, which is about relationships, of course, is a good time to eclipse out things that you don't need. So it may be a time to give a loving send-off to anxieties and fears and phobias that aren't really helping you make the moves forward that you want to make. So So that's that. I don't know why, but there it is, and you can have it. So I hope you find it useful or at least interesting. So here are 3 tarot cards for the whatever time period this is going to be. I'm playing it pretty loose at the moment, but they're from the Tarot Illuminati, which is a beautiful deck by Eric C. Dunn. And let's give them a flip and see what we've got. Okay. The Devil. Well, speak of the devil and here he occurs. Okay. The Empress. My goodness, it's a powerhouse. The 4 of Cups. I love this. This actually ties in quite a bit with what I was saying. Okay, so here's the devil. And this devil is a strong figure. And these characters look chained. And they look like they are being controlled by this devil, but really the devil is the most majestic person in this picture. And so these are sort of chains almost that you've asked to be put in, if you will, or chains that you have voluntarily submitted to because you didn't trust yourself, right? This is, if I weren't on this chain, who knows what I would do? Hold me back, chain me up, keep me from doing something awful. And we all have things in our past that we've had trouble forgiving ourselves for. And if you're doing deep work that's past life or shadow work, those things may be really, really coming up. You can see actually sort of tied to Pisces, these people are coming out of almost this sort of watery looking background in the underworld. And I want to point out here, see these 2 circles? This is sort of the upper world and the underworld, and it's sort of the ticking of time and the compass. And these are ways that we tie ourselves to notions of time, the right place, the right person. Things have to be right, and when they're not right, we're afraid we're going to do the wrong things. Like somehow this is a dance that only has one set of steps. And if we take the wrong step, it's unsalvageable. Like we're like the fool and we've gone off the cliff. But we do think of the fool as a pretty resilient character. The fool has, bouncy bones like a toddler. They take those spills and then they just get right up laughing. And I think that the devil says, you don't have to be so afraid of yourself. You don't have to be afraid of what you'll do if you let yourself off the chain. You are not by nature a person who wants to go out and hurt the world and hurt yourself. So set yourself free. Right now, the devil is doing the job that you're asking him to do, but you don't have to. You don't have to. And what is sort of the antithesis of making someone play the heavy for you, making someone institute upon you the discipline that you don't want to have yourself? Well, here's the antithesis, which is the absolutely abundantly glorious Empress. She just grows and blossoms, and she is not worried that she's going to be too abundant, that things are going to get too beautiful, that her lands are going to be too fertile and too well-fruited, and that the water is going to be too cool and refreshing. Because the Empress is ruled by Venus, there tends to be a sense of more. But in this case, it's not more necessarily in a superficial way. Although when you see these 2 cards together, it would certainly tell you that if you're looking at abundance in a superficial way, you might want to release yourself from that, because abundance is the central card here. And with spring getting ready to spring and all the little bunnies and chickies getting out there, the Empress is the card of this time period. And she has much healing, much hope, much optimism. But you can see she's not chained up, and you can't enjoy her from down here. You've got to get to her level, and she is a very sociable sign, or a very sociable card. The Empress is a card about bringing people together in good relationships, and that's done on an equal level. That's not done in this kind of subservient way where you've subjugated yourself to your desires, or you've asked someone else to restrict you in some way because you don't trust yourself. This is a card where you're going to run your own show, and you're going to do it abundantly, and you're going to trust yourself that the things you're bringing forth are really good. And this Four of Cups, I think, is actually bringing up the same issue. And the Four of Cups, in some decks, can be dealt with as luxury. Okay? There's almost so much that this person can't even appreciate what's there because there's so much. But these cups are all on the ground, and that's what he's looking at. He's not looking up at the beautiful tree above, and he's not looking at these gifts of spirit. And that is where the abundance is going to come. Definitely, abundance comes in all shapes and sizes, and there's nothing wrong with material abundance. That's wonderful. That's great, and I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope that you will continue to enjoy it. And the Empress signifies that as well as everything else. But you should realize that some of the fruits of this season are coming as spirit. They're coming from on high. And if you're chained up down here and chaining yourself, or you're looking down at only the material, only the nuts and bolts, only what's on the surface of the earth, you might miss it. And actually, I don't even mean that, because nobody misses anything. We all get every opportunity that we're supposed to get, and if we miss it, they just come up again. But look now to see, is there an opportunity for a gift of the Spirit that I might be missing if I don't trust myself? Do I feel like the Empress who is absolutely a trustworthy character, or do I feel like one of these where I kind of need someone to look out for me because I don't trust myself? So this can be a case where you want to look into your deep self and see how you feel. Can you be trusted with abundance? It's a good question. So because I had the sort of past lifey kind of ancestor sort of feelings, I wanted to pull a past life oracle card, and this is the one I pulled from the deck by Doreen Virtue. Oh my goodness, persecution and inquisition. Well, hello, there she is. All right. So if you exhibit gifts of the Spirit, if that's where your abundance is, are you afraid that you're going to be persecuted? That's an excellent question. I can only say, I don't know how this might apply to you, but that is exactly the case of the story that I was telling you about for me, that there was an ancestor, so to speak, that was trying to do good and ended up not being able to do good and was persecuted for the failure. And that was part of the story. So it may be that you are carrying that fear forward. Maybe you are. Are you afraid to be who you are because you'll be persecuted? I think that kind of speaks for itself, and I want to hurry and give you this oracle card from Shadows and Light. I have hardly any time to talk about it, but here's the Carnivorous Flower Fairy. A tempting offer has a high price. Oh no, it's our fears come to life. What if what we want is too good? Can it possibly be so good without hurting us too? I think it can, but let's think about it. So talk to you later. Rock on with your bad selves.